The year was 1953. Jackson had a CBS station, then on Channel 25, but no NBC affiliate.
Lamar Life Insurance Company, which had owned and operated WJDX radio since 1929, was anxious to change that. The company built a new combined facility on Jefferson Street for the radio station and the new WLBT Channel 3.
The television station went on the air in December of 1953, days before the Cotton Bowl, which aired live on WLBT on New Year's Day in 1954.
Hi, folks. I'm Woody Asaph.
One of the most popular figures ever to appear on WLBT was already well known from radio. Woody Asaph easily made the transition to television, doing everything from commercials to weather.
If you like peaches and cream, you'll love Sea Lily Peach Ice Cream.
At your friendly Sunflower stores.
And it's dividend days and specials like these.
Drive by, we have the high steppers here. They'll help you unload the car with one toy, 100 toys, or whatever.
Well, it's been a beautiful day today. Looks like it's going to remain that way for a couple of more days. No fronts around us now. Well, the man says simply it's going to be generally fair right through Thursday. Let's take a look at radar 3, see if any precipitation is showing. Let's jack that power up, guys, and see if we can get old Santa to come in. There he comes. Oh, yeah.
What a flip on the radar.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
That's fantastic.
I love that radar.
Woody retired in 2001 after 56 years in local broadcasting.
Most local programming and commercials in the early days were done live. A dance show called Teen Tempos was a hit from the start, with high school students filling the studio on Saturday afternoons to dance, sing, and perform.
Jackson and the surrounding area experienced tremendous growth during WLBT's first 10 years on the air. Construction began on the Mississippi Coliseum at the fairgrounds and on a dam along the Pearl River to create the reservoir we know today. The University of Mississippi Medical Center and St. Dominic Hospital began treating their first patients at their current locations.
That first decade was also a tumultuous time for civil rights. In 1955, WLBT covered the murder of Emmett Till in the Delta and the acquittal of the men who later admitted they were guilty.
1961 brought the read-in at the Jackson Municipal Library by 9 students from Tougaloo College who simply wanted to sit down and read. That same year, the Freedom Riders rode into town on buses to challenge Southern segregation on interstate travel.
In 1962, WLBT was on the campus of Ole Miss for the admission of James Meredith, whose enrollment as the university's first African-American student sparked a deadly riot.
And in 1963, just 5 miles away from the station, NAACP leader Medgar Evers was assassinated in his driveway. We could not have known then that it would take 30 years before his killer, Byron DeLay Beckwith, was brought to justice, with at least a small amount of help from WLBT.
In a letter hand-delivered to WLBT today, Assistant District Attorney Bobby DeLauder asked for a copy of the interview with Byron DeLay Beckwith as part of their new investigation into the Medgar Evers murder.
That new investigation brought a long-delayed conviction that was examined in a WLBT special report hours after the guilty verdict.
I want to reach out and, if I could, touch Medgar and say, hey, I did go the last mile of the way, just like I promised you I would do, and this is it. It's a good feeling.
WLBT's approach to that story in the 90s was a far cry from its attitude toward civil rights back in the 60s, when the station denied airtime to Medgar Evers and other African-American leaders and politicians. That's one of many reasons the FCC revoked the station's license to operate after a lengthy legal process.
A nonprofit biracial group took over in 1971. They hired William Dilday, the country's first black general manager of a TV station, and kept WLBT at the top of the local ratings.
Today, a Mississippi Freedom Trail marker stands outside the station as a physical reminder of that period.
Faces twitch, hands sweat, feet shuffle, all under the icy stare and booming voice of the Appropriations Chairman.
This is Channel 3, WLBT, Jackson, Mississippi, a Lamar Life station. Judy Denson invites you to join her for a special Christmas presentation on Coffee with Judy. Now, here's Judy.
Good morning.
WLBT launched several local shows in the 1970s that quickly found an audience. On Coffee with Judy, host Judy Denson welcomed guests into the studio every morning at 9 o'clock.
Like in New York, you meet someone and you just know this one little piece of their lives. But in the South, you know their whole story. You get the feeling of, it's a dramatic sense, I think, that grows up in you.
Pearl Bailey is here.
Well, Judy, I called you an angel, and you are, because in a few short minutes, you're one of the most understanding young people I've seen in a long time.
I just never can get over the fact that I make money at doing something I love to do so much.
I want you to meet Willie Morris. He is an author.
It really makes one feel good to see that this kind of interest has been generated in one's hometown.
In 1972, Black Gold brought a local version of Soul Train to Jackson viewers, with Lee King running the show every Saturday.
We'd like to welcome you into Black Gold, and we have some interesting guests from Jackson State University.
Those shows and children's programs like Our Playmates were popular, but local news coverage has always been the hallmark of WLBT's commitment to its viewers.
Dick Sanders was the first news director and tried to keep coverage balanced, even as the station's first general manager, Fred Beard, spoke out against civil rights activity.
This is the WLBT Sunday Night Report with Corus Collins.
Good evening.
The on-air staff began to better reflect the audience with the hiring of Corus Collins in the late 60s, followed by Willie Pinkston, the station's first black 6 p.m. news anchor. He went on to a long career in network news.
This is a Channel 3 News 6 o'clock report with Walter Sadler, Charlie McAlexander, and Woody Asaph.
This was the day...
WLBT continued to cover the news aggressively, winning numerous awards along the way. A weekly documentary program called Probe won a George Foster Peabody Award for its investigation of corruption in state government.
Faces twitch, hands sweat, feet shuffle, all under the icy stare and booming voice of the Appropriations Chairman.
In 1969, WLBT sent a 3-man crew to the coast to cover what turned out to be the second most powerful hurricane ever to hit the U.S. up to that point.
A few days later, WLBT organized a Hurricane Camille telethon to help the victims. The 12-hour program called We Care Sunday aired live on TV and radio stations across the state, with Woody Asaph and Bob Hope hosting from the Coliseum.
WLBT News presents the following special report.
10 years later, another disaster, the Easter flood of '79 in Jackson.
The levee that runs along Jackson's eastern boundary can handle a river level of 42 feet. The Pearl began to spill over the top of the levees by late morning.
WLBT produced another telethon to help and called it We Care Too. The city closed Jefferson Street in front of the station so Doc Severinsen and the NBC Orchestra from Johnny Carson's Tonight Show could perform and encourage people to donate. Inside the studio, volunteers took contributions over the phone to help flood victims.
Over the years, WLBT has helped raise millions of dollars for numerous causes, hosting telethons for Easter Seals, UNCF, St. Jude, the Red Cross, and others.
Hundreds of children found forever homes through Wednesday's Child, a segment produced by WLBT and distributed to stations across the state for 32 years.
You get away from here! You get away from here! You go!
When Bert Case came to WLBT in 1974, he was already well known after working at both of the other stations in town.
For the next 4 decades, he personified 3 on your side, even before that became WLBT's official slogan.
Are you the owner of this establishment?
Central Mississippi was a resplendent winter wonderland today with the most snow on the ground in Jackson since 1962. The city of Jackson is preparing to crack down on the world's oldest profession.
Massive buildup continues in Saudi Arabia.
As many as 4 young people will chase cars when they come down Galilee trying to sell a rock of crack.
How far do you have to ride? There you go. You get away from here! You get away from here! You go!
Bert was one of a kind, but he was not the only person who came to work here and made a lasting impression.
Hello, I'm Hagan Thompson. I'm Alan B.
I'm Forrest Cox.
I'm Cliff Bingham.
Jack Hill, Channel 3 News.
This is Lincoln Warren.
I'm Merle Purvis. James Siegel.
Art Bagley.
The presidential contender brought along his controversial running mate. There is a tornado watch in effect for portions of North Mississippi.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
From Mississippi's #1 news team, this is the WLBT Sunday Night Report. Gail Leach-Lawler with news and weather, and Clay Hall with sports.
Jackson Mets had their 8-game win streak halted tonight.
Maybe they ought to change the name of Old Taylor Road in Oxford to Lonely Street, because Swayze Field has certainly been Heartbreak Hotel for Ole Miss thus far.
What makes this game so special for Jackson Academy is the fact that they've never beaten Jackson Prep, ever.
I'm Goldie Urevis.
Walt Grayson, Dennis Smith, Don Cross,
Helen Chickering. Cynthia Bowers.
Ed Fiddler, Ed Bryson, Paul Williams,
Melissa Paretsky.
Steve Wise, Greg Phillips,
Rosalind Anderson.
Larry Flowers, David Kinney.
I'm Sherry Hilton.
Miss Chopper Bob with Captain Coit,
Stephanie Bellflint.
Lewis Bolden,
Dawn Russell.
Davis Brister, Travers Mackle,
Cheryl Lassiter. Wendy Suarez.
Chuck Stinson,
Julie Straw. Jewel Hillary. Courtney Ann Jackson. Joy Redmond.
CJ LeMaster.
Ashley Garner.
And now, Jack Hobbs in Timeout Corner.
And welcome back, everyone. Right now it's 5:43.
Remember to eat healthy.
And that, my friends, is the bottom line.
You're watching TV3, WLBT, Jackson. From Mississippi's #1 news team, this is the WLBT 6 p.m. report. News with Marcia Pollock and Howard Ballou. Sports with Michael Rubenstein. And weather with Woody Asaf.
Good evening.
The technology has changed over the years, but one thing has remained constant: WLBT's commitment to the best news coverage in Central Mississippi.
Here's a look at some of the most memorable stories of the past 70 years.
The plane bringing Marianne Marbley to her gigantic homecoming as Miss America.
You have won the hearts of all. Again, welcome to Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Dr. King, have you been given any security measures while you were in Mississippi?
Well, I talked with the Justice Department just before leaving.
I take this occasion to announce to the people of Mississippi that I will be a candidate for governor.
That I will faithfully support.
At least 31 persons were killed and hundreds injured today as tornadoes roared through 3 Mississippi counties.
Judah Moon said it would be a thunderstorm. They didn't say anything about a tornado.
All of this happened after 2 blacks were killed on the night of May 14th by gunfire, one in front of this dormitory, Alexander Hall, and the other in front of Benjamin F. Roberts Dining Hall.
Fannie Lou Hamer began her life's journey in 1917 in the thick, fertile mud of Montgomery County, Mississippi. 60 years later, after struggles that brought her from the cotton fields to national limelight, Fannie Lou Hamer now returns to that same Mississippi soil.
It was Governor Cliff Finch who introduced the president from Plains to an anxious and waiting crowd.
People just didn't believe that a Southerner could be elected president.
To be able to run like this in front of packed houses in the fall, you've got to be willing to run like this in empty stadiums in the summer. The formula works well for Chicago Bears running back Walter Payton, the NFC's leading rusher the past 3 seasons.
One thing that's motivated me is something that's within inside myself that I have to satisfy, and that's me.
It's the lightly recruited players with these hard times roots that have enabled Alcorn State to become the first black school to receive an NCAA playoff bid.
An elated Governor William Winter, who did not believe himself at the start of this special session that his program would pass, described the action as the most monumental education and economic development program this state has seen in my lifetime.
Live coverage of the kickoff of the Democratic campaign for the presidency of the United States. It will be occurring momentarily in front of the governor's mansion in downtown Jackson. Walter Mondale and his running mate, Geraldine Ferraro, arrived in Jackson last night.
Alice Clark of Jackson was sworn into office, becoming the first black female to assume that position.
I think it says a lot for the state. I think it says that the state is changing.
The only thing clear about this kidnapping is that Miss Herron's life is indeed in danger.
Angola is home to about 5,000 inmates, including one who claims to know all about why Margaret and Vincent Sherry were murdered, because he was there when the arrangements for the killings were made.
Chucky died at mid-afternoon today in the same Baptist Memorial Hospital where he began his struggle and captured national attention. Mullins earned a scholarship to Ole Miss and had just begun to earn playing time when he suffered this paralyzing injury in a win over Vanderbilt 2 seasons ago.
The Kirk Fordyce supporters are very optimistic, very enthusiastic that their candidate will win.
We're here for the inauguration of Daniel Kirkwood Fordyce Jr. as the 61st governor of Mississippi. It's history in the making.
Officials here say these casinos will not be the cure-all for the ailing tourism industry here.
This is a WLBT Weather Bulletin.
I'm Bert Case reporting live from East Haven Estates, which is about a mile and a half east of downtown Brandon, Mississippi.
3 van loads of prisoners entered the gates of the new Hinds County Detention Center. But between the morning and time of prisoner arrival, the locking systems failed.
John Stennis only made one campaign promise in his 41 years in the United States Senate. I'll plow a straight furrow right down to the end of my row.
Almost everyone was in sync with the purpose of the Million Man March. History is made, a record is set, but more importantly, there is a recommitment to family, self-responsibility, unity, and peace.
Around rush hour, witnesses say a man opened fire inside this vacant Po Folks restaurant.
We go first to Maggie Wade at the downtown Jackson fire station.
It was complete chaos, very tragic. We've had some family members to come down here to the Central Fire Station.
This is the WLBT 10 p.m. report.
Voters have decided that Harvey Johnson, an African-American, will be Jackson's next mayor. He is the first African-American to lead Mississippi's capital city.
Kimberly Noel Sweet joins us now from the Johnson campaign headquarters in downtown Jackson.
Quite a celebration going on here.
Teachers try to console students after the unthinkable happens at Pearl High School. 16-year-old Luke Woodham shot his estranged girlfriend with a rifle, then opened fire in the crowded hallway.
Parts of the tower hit the building which houses the WLBT transmitter. A tower crew from Canada was putting thicker steel guy wires on the tower at the time of the accident.
From your #1 news team, Marcia Thompson and Howard Ballou, Woody Asap with weather, and Rob J. with sports. This is the WLBT 6 p.m. report.
It is no secret that Governor Kirk Fordyce and the First Lady Pat Fordyce have not been very happily married in recent years.
But tonight it is clear that the governor's plans after he gets out of office apparently do not include the First Lady.
This was Governor Kirk Fordyce's reaction when we tried to ask him about it at his Madison home Monday.
You invade my privacy this way 6 months from now, I'll whip your ass. You have no damn business playing these games.
Jitney officials say under Chapter 11 protection, Jitney Jungle will now have breathing room it needs to restructure its debt and transition into a smaller, stronger company.
One of the greatest football players to ever take the field, Walter Payton, died today at his home in Chicago.
He was suffering from a rare liver disease and was on the list for a transplant.
Nissan in Canton, Mississippi. Doesn't it sound good?
More than 300 people celebrated the historic announcement at the state capitol.
This happens to be my 17th anniversary with WorldCom as an active employee. And we've had 15 fabulous years and 2 very challenging years.
You're watching special WLBT coverage of the inauguration of Frank Melton as mayor of the city of Jackson. Working together, we can build a better Jackson. God bless you and thank you very much.
MEMA began contraflow traffic, opening up the entire roadway to those folks headed out of Katrina's path.
Reality is setting in for residents of Biloxi, and let me tell you, things are not looking good here.
One of the casinos was dropped literally on top of the Holiday Inn.
Everywhere you look, homes, material items, and family dreams lost.
Senator Barack Obama shook hands and talked with Jackson supporters as he made his way to Peach's Cafe.
People in Mississippi are struggling with the same things that folks all across the country are struggling with.
So many people have remarked that they never thought they'd see the day that an African American would lead this country.
Our news crew visited to ask why she was still operating despite being charged with identity theft and fraud.
You don't want to ask me nothing! You don't want to ask me nothing, okay?
Air McNair was so dominant in the SWAC and in 1AA football that he still holds the Division 1AA records for career yards passing and total offense.
Police found McNair's body with a gunshot wound to the head in a downtown Nashville condominium.
They always used to call us the Aints, but we're the Saints. We won that Super Bowl, baby!
The governor was deeply moved by the scenes and people where he grew up being hit so hard.
It's a really bad tornado.
Shock in the capital city Tuesday night as residents learn of the sudden passing of Mayor Chokwe Lumumba. Many say they believe he was bringing the city together and moving it forward when he died.
We all have a right to be proud of our state tonight.
The fire started inside a petting barn, housing animals on the grounds of the Mississippi Agriculture Museum.
6-year-old Kingston Frazier, the child at the center of this morning's Amber Alert, was found shot to death inside his mother's stolen car. A tragedy on what would have been the day he completed first grade.
WLBT News presents special coverage of Mississippi's bicentennial celebration.
We're here today to celebrate the opening of 2 really extraordinary museums.
Mississippi has 2 museums linked together in love, in hope, and in justice.
When ICE agents raided 7 food processing plants as part of a large-scale immigration bust, many believe it was the children who suffered the most.
There are no confirmed cases of coronavirus in Mississippi, but we must remain vigilant.
This is a moment that many people have called for years. They've said these flags belong in a museum, and today that is exactly where they are headed.
The history, the fans, academics, the overall aura of Jackson State really attracted me.
3 on your side. WLBT News at 10 starts now.
The Mississippi State baseball team resting at home tonight after accomplishing what no other squad has done there, bringing a national championship home to Starkville.
Roe v. Wade is now behind us, consigned to the list of infamous cases that collapsed under the weight of their errors.
As the capital city's water issues have been declared a federal emergency, the city of Jackson has kicked water distribution into high gear with help from MEMA.
It shouldn't have come to this.
The state of Mississippi is back on top of the College Baseball World Series for a second straight season. Yes, the Ole Miss Rebels have come out victorious in Omaha.
We're bringing it home to Mississippi, back-to-back years. This is just, a dream come true for me.
70 years ago, in 1953, WLBT began broadcasting to the people of Mississippi. It was the 3rd TV station to sign on the air in our state. We want to thank you for your support over the past 7 decades. We want to thank our clients, our advertisers, for partnering with us over those many years as we work to help grow their business, their local businesses. The station has covered major milestones in history, some good, some bad, some tragic, and some inspiring. Throughout those years, it's been our commitment to be on your side, to be the voice for the voiceless, to enact positive change, and to serve the wonderful communities that make up Central and Southwest Mississippi, to help make them better, to make a difference. As we take this time to look back over the past 70 years, it's also important that we look forward. As more and more local media fades away, we want all of you to know WLBT will be here. We will continue to be on your side. We will provide first alert weather coverage to help keep you and your family safe when storms are threatening. We will continue to hold the powerful accountable through our investigative reports. And as the national media continues to diverge into endless social and opinion formats, WLBT will continue to be local. Whether it's on your TV screen, your computer, your phone, or whatever new technology emerges in the future, you can count on us to be a part of that new media. We care about Mississippi because we are Mississippi. Again, from all of us at WLBT, thank you for your ongoing support. We are 3 on your side, and we look forward to serving you for the next 70 years.